Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the oil filter housing gasket, which this is an assembly that mounts to the engine. The gasket in between it and the block is leaking, from what I could tell. It looked like it was a crank seal, but some of that oil is a little higher, and this is a more common leak than your front crank seal. So it's probably best to replace it first to try to make sure you don't have any leaks before you go trying to bust that crank stuff loose. So one thing you need to do is remove the alternator. There's a video linked below to show you how to do that. After you do that, we'll get at the oil housing assembly. With the engine cleaned up some, my buddy washed it down, and the belts out of the way, you can see oil all the way up here, which is kind of fresh. So I think we're heading in the right direction, pulling this oil filter housing off. There's the oil filter there. Here I am with the alternator out, and this big bracket is in the way of getting to the housing back here. So I believe I have to take that shiny looking bolt there out, because I think it is attached to this big bracket. Then I'm going to pull these 4 bolts out of the large bracket and see if I can pivot this out of the way. It's a 13 millimeter on those 4. This one down here is also a 13 millimeter. So let's see if pulling those 5 bolts will allow me to pivot this out of the way. Now the power steering pump is hooked to that stuff down there, so I won't be able to pivot it far. Let's see how that goes. All 5 of those screws out, and as you can see, I can lift this bracket up and out of the way. And now I'm going to access what appears to be 6 10 millimeter bolts to get this oil housing off. You got 2 up here, 2 in the middle, and 2 down the bottom. So let me take those 6 screws out, unplug that sensor on the back first, and slowly pull that away. You may want to put an oil drip pan and some things under there to catch a little bit of oil that's likely going to leak out of there. Before you take these bolts out the housing, all 6 of them, you probably want to go ahead and remove the oil filter. You're not going to get that housing clean and dry if you still have a filter in it. So remove the oil filter, and then you want to tie this bracket back out of your way. I use this zip tie to pull it back and keep it out of my way so that I can work. I sprayed everything down with brake parts cleaner as best I could so that the surfaces are near clean, so when I pull this apart I don't get dirt, sand, or anything like that in it. So I'm gonna maneuver this off because I got all 6 bolts off of it. I might put a little I pushed on it, as you can see it came open. So I'm gonna carefully work that off without damaging nothing behind it. Now, maneuvered the housing off. This actually stayed in the engine. It's got a seal on it that I'm going to replace. The person with the written instructions that I seen suggested that you buy this whole part. It's only $3 more than the seal. I didn't realize that when I bought the seal. So I believe I have this lower seal here, number 5. I'm going to put that back on there, and hopefully this other seal doesn't leak, because there's actually 2 seals on here. So then here's the gasket there. I'm going to clean that surface up, clean the surface up on the vehicle. Make sure they're both clean and dry. There's no gasket material on there. Then I'm going to set the gasket in place. I'm going to put the seal on here, and then I'm going to put this stuff back together. I think that thing is supposed to be torqued to 6 Newton meters, which is about 5 foot-pounds, 52 inch-pounds or something like that. Don't over tighten and break those bolts. These are the 2 parts that I got from BMW for $9.03. Tried to take the seal off of there. It just broke, which is fine. Got a new seal. I'm going to oil that seal up before I put it on this part. Slide this part back into the engine or housing. Like I said, clean the surfaces off and get that remounted. The seal on that, I pressed that in the hole. It kind of popped in place. Now I have a couple of screws holding the gasket on this. I'm going to set this in place, start the screws. The only way to get this really clean so that it's not dripping any oil on that gasket is if you remove the oil filter before you take this stuff off. So I'm going to recommend that. After I get everything cleaned up, get all 6 bolts in, torque them down, the torque values in the comments. I plug the sensor in the back of the housing there. And now I'm going to rinse that down a little bit more to make sure I can see any fresh leaks. And then I'm going to put the 5 bolts back in this bracket. So I'm going to cut this loose, mount that back, work my way back in with everything. I'm going back in with everything. I do want you to know that I have replaced this tensioner some time ago. So it has like a T55. So now I'm getting ready to put my power steering reservoir back in place, put my air box in, put my tubes in, and be done with it. Still have some wash down that may need to be washed off, but shouldn't be dripping no more in the garage. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.
Budget. Let's make it fucking